Republican freshmen were ushered into Congress last fall with help from the Tea Party, which counts among its principles a goal to rein in government spending. Joining me now is freshman Congressman Frank Ginta, a member of the House Budget Committee who had a lot of Tea Party backing. Congressman, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure, Shannon.
Now, I know that you campaigned, had some really strong language saying things like when you get to Washington, you're going to cut and then cut some more. Now that you've been here, what's the reality like?
Well, the first thing we've had to deal with is this continuing resolution as last Congress funded the government through March 4th. So we've been focusing a lot of our time on trying to figure out if we can get an agreement together to fund the government through the rest of the fiscal year, which ends September. As you know, House Republicans, myself included, support a $100 billion cut from that pool of $1 trillion that we're arguing over, and that's what's going to be, I think, most of the news this coming week. To try to deal with that particular issue.
Yeah, the Senate is back in session, and they'll take a look possibly at what you all passed in the House. It doesn't have a lot of hopes by most accounts of making any progress or even getting to the floor there in the Senate, hence this shorter-term CR that you talked about. Why pass things in the House that you know aren't going to pass in the Senate? Is it symbolic, or are you trying to force their hand?
No, it's not symbolic. It's about doing the people's work. And I was sent to Washington to restrain spending, to exert some fiscal discipline, and get the economy moving in the right direction. The fact is that the federal government has a $1.5 trillion deficit. The president has proposed a $1.6 trillion deficit for next federal fiscal year that's unsustainable and unacceptable to Americans across New Hampshire and the country. So we've got to do the people's work. We're going to do that and send bills that are reflective of what the people want over to the Senate. Our hope is that the Senate works with us in trying to reduce the size and scope of government.
All right, everybody has talked about the fact that both sides of the aisle are going to have to make significant sacrifices in order to find some common ground. I know that you've taken some criticism for a couple of things that you fought for, that you care about and believe in, things like heating subsidies for people who cannot go without heat during the winter months, but also a $450 million fighter jet engine program that a lot of people criticized. Is it tough to go out to the other side and say, I know you have things you care about, I want you to sacrifice them, when you're fighting for things that not everybody sees the value in?
Well, there are 435 members of Congress. Everyone has a different idea of the best way to retool and reform and reshape the size of government. As a mayor, now as a member of Congress, I'm going to continue to prioritize. LIHEAP funding in New Hampshire and New England is a very important component of getting through the winter months. I think it's a bare basic necessity for some families in our state and in our nation. I'm going to try to find other reductions in spending to ensure that is committed to New Hampshire. With the strike fighter, the fact is that having a dual source engine saves $21 billion over the course of the contract. That is smart governance. And we're going to continue to find things within the budget that maybe other members don't always agree with. But the fundamental principle Republicans in this Congress do agree on is reducing spending, reducing the deficit. Not easy decisions, Shannon, but decisions that people are expecting and asking us to make, and we're going to continue to make those tough votes.
We know there are tough votes to come. We will watch as this plays out. Congressman Frank Ginta, thank you very much for joining us.